Hi there, my name is Melissa and I'm a psychology resident currently working with Western's Health and Wellness Center. Today we will be talking about supporting your Mustang, nurturing your bond with your post-secondary student, strategies for open communication. This module is the fourth in a series of modules and is designed to support you as your student transitions to university. Parents or guardians who participate in this module will be able to list 3 types of support they may provide to their student, identify guidelines for effectively communicating with their student, recognize strategies to repair the relationship if a conflict or disagreement occurs, and acknowledge the importance of personal values and reflection in supporting their students' transition to university. As we work through this module today, I'm going to ask you to keep these reflection questions in mind. Please take a moment or so to reflect on the following question. What do you want for your relationship with your student? Think about your relationship with your student. How is your relationship currently? How do you hope your relationship will change as your student embarks on this next stage of life? And what motivated you to tune into this module today? I'm going to ask you to continue to reflect on these questions as we work through this module as well as afterwards. These will be your guide as you reflect on how to engage in open communication with your student. This module is guided by 2 assumptions. The first one is that you and your student have spent the past number of years communicating and forming your connection and relationship. The second is that you know each other best and are best equipped to navigate the changes you may experience within your relationship as your student starts university. As the saying goes, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound later on, meaning that by spending time preparing for these changes now, you are making a wonderful effort and increasing the likelihood that you will be better able to navigate the changes in an honest and effective manner down the road and through the use of open communication. Although there are times when not talking about certain topics, behaviors, thoughts, or emotions may seem like the better or more comfortable option, over time you may become disconnected from those you love and care for most. As you might say, no one ever said this would be better if we didn't talk. Talking with and listening to your student can improve your bond and can help you to form a deeper connection. Research suggests that there are 3 types of support that parents and guardians may provide to their students. Instrumental support includes doing specific things for your student, such as helping them with homework or another activity. Emotional support includes providing affection and listening to your student when they may want to talk and express their feelings. Informational support includes giving useful tips and information to deal with questions, problems, and everyday tasks. While preference for type of support is largely dependent on your student, their individual characteristics, as well as the situation, most people want emotional support and informational support and are most comfortable giving instrumental support. By providing informational support, for example, you're giving your students some tips and tools to solve a problem. However, you're leaving the problem solving in their hands and helping them build a sense of autonomy and independence. Emotional support can be provided through open and honest communication. This type of support is all about helping someone you love see their way through the difficulties they may be experiencing and showing them that you understand. An important step in the communication process is ensuring that you are finding a good time for discussion, when you and your student are in good spirits and are in a space to express interest and care for one another. This is especially important when the conversation may be a difficult one to have. Second, ensure that you take a few deep breaths, breathing in for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, and exhaling for 4 seconds can help to increase calmness. And as we can see, if a conversation is hard, it's probably the one worth having. We'll spend the next few minutes discussing some guidelines for open and effective communication and listening. To engage in effective communication with your student, use the acronym DEAR as a guideline. D stands for describe and involves describing the current situation and sticking to the facts. At this point, you're refraining from expressing your feelings or asking for anything. By starting off with describing the situation with facts only, you're helping the other person understand the circumstances and your request. E stands for express, which includes expressing your feelings and opinions about the situation. We want to help the other person understand how we feel and what we're thinking. Using I statements such as I want and I don't want instead of you should or you shouldn't helps to ensure that you are taking accountability and prevents blame from being placed on the other person. A stands for assert. Assert includes asking for what you want or what you need, or depending on the situation, saying no in a clear and firm manner. We cannot assume that others will know what we want, don't want, or will somehow figure out what we want after the time has passed. R stands for reinforce, which involves reinforcing the person by explaining the positive effects of getting what you want or need. It's also important to reward desired behavior after the fact. This guideline may also be important to share with your loved ones. To illustrate the acronym DEAR, let's work through an example that may be common among parents or guardians and their student. The balance between partying and studying. The situation might be that you've started to notice that your student is spending more time partying than studying. Describe the situation with facts. You might say, "You told me that you went out on Friday night and Saturday night, and that you didn't have much time to study for your exam on Monday because you were too tired and you might have drank a little too much." Express feelings and opinions about the situation. You might say, "I'm worried that you're struggling to balance your time between having fun and being able to study and keep up with your schoolwork. My biggest worries are that you might fall behind in your studies and become overwhelmed and stressed as a result." Assert by asking for what you want or need. I would like you to find a balance between having fun and spending time on your studies. This is something we can work on together if you like. And finally, reinforce by stating the positive effects. You might say, finding a balance will ensure that you're having fun and at the same time working towards your goals of pursuing the career you really, really want. To engage in effective listening, use the acronym GIVE as a guideline. G stands for be gentle. This includes being nice and respectful, refraining from verbal attacks, expressing anger directly with words, judging, so saying things such as you should or you shouldn't, and sneering. Being mindful of nonverbal behavior such as eye rolling, walking away, or cutting off the conversation prematurely is also important, as there may be times when our body language is not suggestive of how we truly feel. I stands for act interested. This includes listening and appearing interested in your student, listening to their point of view, maintaining eye contact, leaning toward them if you're able to as opposed to away, giving them space to talk, and being sensitive to the fact that your student may wish to have a discussion at a later time. Be patient, the time will come when they are ready. V stands for validate. We can validate with words and actions by showing understanding for the other person's feelings and thoughts about the situation. Validation includes seeing the world from the other person's point of view and then saying or acting on what you see. Saying things such as, "I realize this is hard for you," is one way to validate what they may be experiencing. E stands for use an easy manner, which means adding a little bit of humor to the conversation when appropriate. Smiling, helping the person be at ease, and being lighthearted are all ways to ease your student along. In addition to the acronym GIVE, here are some practical strategies for engaging in effective listening, also known as actively engaging in the conversation. Minimize external distractions. Turn off the TV, put your book or phone down, and ask others to do the same when you're having a conversation. Respond to show that you understand and are hearing the person speak. such as by using uh-huh or mm-hmm and nodding, saying things such as, oh, really? And oh, that's interesting. In addition, asking questions to show interest, such as, what did you do then? And what did she say? And paraphrasing, so you're saying dot dot dot, helps to show that you're engaged. Focus on what the speaker is saying. So trying your best to stay focused on the conversation and limiting distractions. It's easy to get distracted, especially in uncomfortable situations. Staying mindful and focused helps to ensure that the conversation stays on course and that you're working towards open and honest communication. This also includes minimizing internal distractions, letting go of thoughts that may be filling your mind, then bringing your attention back to the speaker. And finally, keeping an open mind. Keeping an open mind involves letting the speaker finish what they're saying and trying to stay away from jumping to conclusions. To extend upon this, Emma, a current student at Western University, shared with us a strategy that worked well for her and her parents in terms of scheduling a time to communicate and connect.
The transition from high school to university is a big one, and it's a big change for parents too. But in my experience, there are many effective ways to continue to communicate and connect with your child after they've entered university. What always worked well for my mom and I was setting up times to call or FaceTime. I found that if we texted ahead of time to set up a time that worked for both of us, I was definitely more likely to answer the phone than if she just called me out of the blue. Also, don't panic if they don't answer a text or a call right away. It's a big change, but it is important that this be an experience where your child is able to gain confidence and independence, and part of that means that you have to let go just a little bit.
When engaging in a conversation with your student and coming towards a solution, it can be helpful to let go of ideas that one person is right, one solution will be right, or that both people will leave without their needs being fully met. Strive for solutions in which each person has their needs met at least at an 80% level. In these situations, if a conflict or disagreement arises, take a moment, breathe, reflect, and try to shift the goal towards connecting more meaningfully as opposed to being right. Once the conversation integrates your values and your interest in supporting each other, win-win solutions become more apparent. And if there is a communication breakdown, place an emphasis on repairing the relationship. When a conflict or disagreement occurs, there may be a time when communication breaks down. This happens and is okay. The important part is to focus on repairing the relationship when this occurs. Depending on the situation, you may consider apologizing. This helps to repair the relationship by helping people to feel comfortable talking again. A helpful apology may include expressing remorse, admitting responsibility, and making amends. One example might be, I know that I hurt your feelings yesterday when I snapped at you. I was wrong to treat you like that, and I'm sorry. If there's something I can do to make this up to you, please let me know. Creating space to share emotions allows you and your student to share open and honestly what might be going on for the both of you. One way to do this is to choose a speaker and a listener. The role of the listener is to understand the unique perspective of the speaker. Following this, validate their experience using the effective listening guidelines previously mentioned. Validation doesn't necessarily mean that you have to agree, but that you understand even a part of your student's experience. Working through the issue at another time, a time when you and your student are in a better space and are feeling more calm. This reaffirms your commitment to working together through the issue at hand, just at another point in time when you're both feeling more at ease. And finally, doing something enjoyable together to maintain your connection and focus on rebuilding your relationship. This could be anything from scheduling a phone date, a video call, or engaging in an activity together. And lastly, as a current Western student, Rhea shared with us, don't be afraid to reach out to your student.
So, something that I wished my parents knew when I first entered university was to not be afraid to constantly check on me or call me, especially using technology. When I was a first year living on campus, I think my parents were trying to give me that independence of living by myself for the first time. They weren't used to video calling me a lot since I lived with them before, but to be honest, I would call my parents every time to get their opinion on something, even if it was something small, because I realized that transitioning into university was difficult. But my parents and I were able to adapt to video calling and texting frequently to keep in touch and help me with my transition into university, even from a distance.
And while focusing on engaging and connecting with your student through communication, remember to take care of yourself too. Whether your university student is moving out, staying home, or somewhere in between, taking time to take care of yourself in the midst of these changes is important too. Prior to the transition with your student, try to ensure that you have supportive people in place, such as loved ones, friends, or family members that you can turn to, as well as some healthy self-care practices to engage in, such as finding time for yourself, feeling a sense of purpose and meaning during this transition, or going for a walk and being with nature. As you leave this module today, we hope that you continue to reflect on your personal values and how you hope your relationship will change as your student embarks on this next stage of life. Open and honest communication is one way in which to nurture your relationship with your student. As you embark on this next journey, some additional questions that may guide you include: when you look back on this time, or your student does, how do you want to describe the qualities you brought to this chapter? What does this mean in terms of your behavior? I invite you to share your reflection on Twitter and tag us using the hashtag #WesternYouThrive.
Thanks so much for joining me today. Your willingness to learn more about supporting your student through the use of effective and open communication really demonstrates how much you care for and love your student.
Please also encourage your student to check out these additional summer programs at Western, which are all designed to help prepare them to thrive come the fall.